recognizing, and the way they put it is, it's like a waking nightmare. Your nightmares are hanging out in your back, and it's literally causing, it's like fucking with the way your circulation flows through your back. And so that's causing all these spasms. Now, this isn't to say you can't injure your back. Obviously you can. But like, it's pretty wild to think about that, you know, if you're somebody who has like chronic back pain, that, and a lot of people think it's related to an injury, which is really weird. They think it happened on some day when that maybe you were injured, but you healed. You know what I mean? But that's not what's causing it. It's so interesting. And ever since I read that, I swear, man, just acknowledging like, oh, wow, that's probably where a lot of my anger and grief and shit is like hanging out back there, like literally back there. It dissipated a little bit. It didn't go away completely. But now if I'm like pissed off, or if I'm feeling unhappy, or if my back starts hurting, I'll think, wait, what's your emotional state right now? What aren't you paying attention to? There seems to be a connection.
Yeah. What's the name of that book again?
It's called Healing Back Pain.
Healing Back Pain.
Yeah.
So we hold on to those emotions, and that energy also materializes itself into diseases, because you break that word down. That's, you know, dis-ease, or, you know, dis-ease in the body, because that flow isn't there anymore. So now you have a disruption going on. And so I had a client of mine, she was talking about a similar situation, but she was having a lot of trauma from pregnancy, like in her midsection, because of how traumatic the birth was.
Yeah.
And so there was she went to get some what is it called? She went to go see a chiropractor and put needles in the area where that trauma was, and not gas like Spartan, but like gas was beginning to seep out, because there were pockets of air being trapped, not just from the surgery, but from emotional stress.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And so that was, you said that wasn't an acupuncturist? That was
that's what I meant to say, sorry.
Okay.
That's what I meant to say.
That's fucking nuts, man.
So yeah, man, so then that flow, or that currency to build that system of your capital, of your wealth, goes off of, you know, if we're looking at it with the body, it's about who has the healthiest body, you know, or who has the most flow of energy in exchange, you know, within their system. You know what I mean?
Right.
So then I guess then we need to find out, like, where are these stoppages at inside of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes just don't you think like just the attention is like, even just it's not like you have to like stop being, you know, anxious, or it's like you have to like immediately become like free of animosity towards people who did you wrong, or it's just like, just know it, just like letting that rest in your attention instead of pretending it's not there. Isn't sometimes that enough to get your energy going?
To acknowledge it, yeah. And then to do something about it.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like I can acknowledge that I need to go to the gym. I can even walk all the way to the gym and sit inside it. Like, I'm here, did it, but I'm not gonna get in shape until I pick up a weight.
Dude, I used to do that. I would get stoned and go to the gym and sit on, like, they had this nice, comfortable couch, and I would write, and then I'd be like, you know what, I'm not working out today. I leave.
But you know what? The mind is so powerful. Shout out to Dr. Africa. Thanks for dropping that, Shanessa. He was saying that the mind is so powerful that you could sit down in that gym and close your eyes and visualize strong enough to see yourself running on the treadmill to where your body would begin to burn calories.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
there's studies that back that up too, man. Like I've heard that there's like a lot of studies on like where they just have people imagine that they were like doing bicep curls, and it did create change just imagining it, which is insane. Right now, you should see me in my mind. By the way, man, I'm doing like a hardcore kettlebell workout. It's fucking intense. My psyche's like sweating, ripped. By the way, you should see my psyche.
Channeling that Hulk Hogan energy, man.
Oh yeah.
What are your clients? Tell me about this. Tell me about your work there.
So I don't even have a name for it, man. But so I started a side hustle when I first moved out here. I started personal training. But then as I'm training and doing my thing, I'm starting to realize that because how I am now, I like to talk and dive in and open up. I was becoming more of like a life coach to my clients. So then I kind of morphed my philosophy and my approach to training to being a friend. And so instead of me being this coach and just shouting at you and telling you what to do, we're just going to hang out for an hour and I'm going to work out with you. I don't do every single exercise, but I do like half of it. And it becomes therapeutic because not only am I helping them, get things out of themselves and open up and exchange that energy. You know what I mean? Because part of that fitness is you not being stressed out. Because one thing that I noticed about being in the gym, I didn't know this when I first went in, but over time I saw it. The people who complained every time they came to a session, they never got results, and they worked out harder than anybody else. The ones the people who always smiled through it, they always got to where they wanted to be. And I was like, wow, when I literally saw it, I was like, wow, this is real. Like if you come in and you're always talking about, it hurts, I don't want to do this, your body's going to stay the same.
Wow.
Because you don't want to change, so it doesn't want to change. So it's not going to do anything to change.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's nuts. The body is such a sweet animal and so loyal and so noble, that it will do. Like, you want to fucking shove, cheesecake in your mouth and drink fucking Coca-Colas. It doesn't want that. It's it's got diabetes, or it's like, you know what I mean? It will let you do that. You want smoke? It's gonna do it. Like, it knows you're killing it, but it's gonna let you control your hand and bring the fucking cigarette to your mouth and suck poison into your lungs, because it's like the most noble, loyal animal. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the most. It's like the.
Can you imagine if it started to rebel in that kind of way? Though, you were like, what?
Oh man,
what is going on? And it immediately just picked up a weight, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't want to do this.
Right?
The fuck is happening?
Yeah, how come we don't get possessed by healthy demons? Like, why is everyone getting possessed by demons that want to put a crucifix in your asshole?
Because what is healthy? You know what I mean? In that moment, because let's say you're carrying a lot of emotional stress in your gut. So you would think, man, I just need to eat some, some spinach. Maybe that's one way of looking at it. Or what if your spirit tells you, man, you need to go eat a honey bun right now? Why? Because when you were 7, the first time you tried it, oh my God, remember the joy it brought you?
Oh.
So to mentally get to that state of euphoria or bliss, to like raise that energy up. But also, here's what it did on the flip side with the physical. You got all this caught up in your gut. Now you just sent this bullshit ass honey bun down there. Boom, now you're on the toilet. It's all out of you. Case closed, we're done. Right. You detoxed and you felt better about it.
Whoa.
So in that moment, that was healthy.
That's cool. It's not like some rigid. It's not like you're gonna you're not gonna become like some fascist to your body. It's like, maybe you can listen to, maybe sometimes you do need a fucking honey bun Mussolini. Let yourself like it from time to time. Have the honey bun. That's cool, man. I love that. It's also very sweet and sad too. You know, the good old days when I'd have a honey bun out with my family. We'd all sit around and eat honey buns. Those were the great days. That's sad. You're right, though, man. So much of, you know, this reminds me of this, like, there's a great book. Let's see if I remember the name of it. It's a book about this Tibetan Rinpoche, and they all do these retreats, and like 3-year retreats. I'm sorry if we've talked about this in a philosophy club. Have we already talked about this?
Which?
It's called.
Keep going. Keep taking me down the forest, and I'll let you know if the tree looks familiar.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
So so like these people are treated like royalty. They're like, they have these very, like, I wouldn't call it an easy life, but it is like they're in these beautiful like temples, and they're monks, you know, but the Rinpoches, they have a lot of they're powerful people, but they will go and meditate in a cave for like 3 years. They take 3-year silent retreats sometimes. But this Rinpoche, he snuck out of like the temple he was at, and like was homeless for years in India. And it's a book about what that was like. He literally just gave everything up. He was like incredibly sick in Varanasi, India. He had like horrible food poisoning, almost died. Like, it's a great book. I wish I could remember the name of it. I might look it up. But regardless, he, throughout the book, as he's talking about like this experience of going from having pretty much everything provided for him to being just somebody who was like, literally begging for food, getting rotting food, which is what made him sick. He was like, bringing up all these like things that happened to him as he was being trained as a monk when he was a kid. And it reminds me of your honey bun story, which is that, and it sounds kind of brutal, but the intention behind it was to teach the kid about his mind, which is his guru, I guess you could say, or his main spiritual teacher, said to him, we're not doing classes today. We're going to go up into the mountains and have a picnic, so you don't have to do your class today. And then he said, how does that make you feel? And the kid's like, I'm so happy now. I feel so happy that we're going to go do that and I don't have to do classes. And then his teacher says to him, actually, we're going to do classes today. I was trying to show you something by saying we go do this picnic. Now how do you feel? And he's like, I feel sad. I feel disappointed. I thought we were going to go up into the mountains. I'm kind of brokenhearted. And his teacher's like, see, it all is in your mind. Before we even went up into the mountains, you were so happy. And the moment I said we weren't going in the mountains, now you feel sad. But it really didn't have anything to do with the mountains. In this moment, you know what I mean? You immediately felt great, but then you instantly felt terrible. This is the mind, which is that it isn't dependent on phenomena. You don't have to have phenomena line up to experience high levels of joy. And you know what I mean? So it's like, that's interesting, the way, how many things that do we do to try to achieve a state of happiness that's already there. It's already in us. The honey bun is already in our hearts. Right? I'm sorry.
Right? Man, that's dope. Yeah. Marcus, what do you want to say on that? Because I was going to go somewhere, but then I felt like it was going to take me too long to get there.
Never stop me!
Say it again.
Never stop me.
Never stop me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, man, that mind is powerful, man. And I think that's the thing that we're gaining back is our right mind. So it's funny, once I first started, becoming aware of myself, somebody had made a joke and said, "You losing your mind?" I'm like, yeah, because it's already been gone, but I guess I'm finding it now, you know what I mean? So it's good to lose that program mind that you have. Lose it. And then once you lose it, find your right mind, you know, and put those pieces back together, because we're scatterbrained. Like we react to things before we even fully process what it is.
Right.
Because something has already positioned and then an idea there to like make you afraid of something or reactive to something, you know?
Yeah, I think we got that, you know, it's that DNA thing again, you know, like what's my man that wrote Sapiens?
Noah Yuval Harris, right? I
think, man, you know, but he had this sort of talk about like humanity and like where is it going, like, and is technology stopping us and things like that. And I think that, you know, where he was coming from on that is the idea that, you know, we are the technology. We are the technology, and we are taking the humanity out of ourselves and putting it into machines. So the idea about, you know, like our minds being these powerful things that can create, hell yeah, we've created everything that we have right now, and yet we haven't even tapped into the true source of what we have. You know, like it's that kind of thing. So I guess, like, I don't know what I'm saying, man.
I think I follow you, man. It's like we're this super advanced computer that's trying to make computers, and right now the computers we make are shittier than the computer that we are. You know, we can't make it human.
We think we're adding this humanity to, you know, with AI and AR and all these different things. Like, we think we're adding this value to, like, outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
But it's outside of ourselves.
Right. Yeah. It's tragic almost. It's sad. It's like the weirdest thing that we're making all these but isn't this an ego thing? It's like, man, I was going down this YouTube rabbit hole, and again, I'm trying to be, I'm sorry. Look, I know there's a judgmental piece of me. I don't know why I keep saying I'm trying. By the time you say I'm not trying to be judgmental, it means you're about to say a judgmental fucking thing. But like, I found this YouTube. It's this dude, it's fucking hippie dude. Like, he's in this beautiful nature, and he's like yodeling or something, and like ringing bells and doing this whole, like, you know, he's got drone shots of him like ringing bells and doing some kind of weird hippie yodeling out in the forest. And you get this sense of like, if you just sat still, that's going to be so much more beautiful than whatever the fuck this like thing you're doing to try to like basically like upstage nature. You know what I mean? Like you're trying to like, you're trying to be more beautiful than the world. And I think it infuriates people to realize, like, if you just don't do anything, sometimes that's way better than anything you could have done, because it already is so beautiful. It's already so perfect. It already is. You are perfect. Look at the harmony of your atoms. What are you going to add? Like, what are you going to do? Make a fucking skyscraper? Look at the Grand Canyon. What are you going to make? You're going to make a pyramid? Okay. Look at Antarctica. Look at like any glacier. Look at the ocean. You know, it's like, it's a kind of sad, funny thing we do as humans. You know, like Mount Rushmore. It was better as a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
You fucked up a mountain.
Exactly.
Hey, but you know, I had a question that came up in my mind about, you know, my perception was, is it better? So, okay, we'll put it in these terms, and then I'll go back to what you were just saying about, you know, that whole nature thing. Is it better to be Drake, or is it better to experience the music that he makes? If you're a Drake fan, I mean, think of your favorite artist, whoever it is.
Right.
is it a better position to be the actual product, or is it a better position to be the one, the observer, who gets to experience this thing? You know what I mean?
I think that's very situational, Brandon, because we could be talking about the Beatles, or we could be talking about R. Kelly right now. You know, both two very different experiences. You understand?
Outside of the person's, personal behaviors.
But that's what creates the person. It's created upon the person's personal behaviors.
I'm sure someone in the Beatles pissed.
Hey mate, you right?
Give
Chris
me a
Bed.
break.
but the point I'm saying is, like, okay, so I can't create a crystal or amethyst, but I get to experience it. Humans created pyramids versus nature creating this beautiful jungle with a waterfall going through it.
I am I'm up to 85%
but
difficulty at the moment, and
all of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not sure how much further I can go up.
Does that make us special in some sense, to where we're the only thing here that gets to have some type of experience of everything that's being made? Because everything else seems to just like be whatever it is and just go with the flow, and it only has that one point of view on whatever it's supposed to be doing. But we're looking at everything that we can look at, you know.
Yeah.
So
I love it. That's Bhakti Yoga. This is like that's like a deep. You just said like a really deep concept in Bhakti Yoga regarding like, this is why when you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're actually chanting to God's lover. You're not chanting to God, because like, yeah, isn't that wild? There's like a lot. It's like, because if one of the things, like if this is a thing that God fell in love with, then whoa, what is this thing? And also, if this thing that God fell in love with loves me, then God, then I'll be accepted into that too. So when you're chanting, but then also there's a deeper idea, which is that, Krishna can't enjoy that which flows from Krishna, because Krishna is the thing that manifests it. And so there's a circuitry that appears, which is that by this never-ending gift of love to the devotees, which are anybody, it doesn't have to be Krishna, it's devotion, but this never-ending outflow of love, it's not like it's reciprocity, but the only way that God experiences that is not through awe at its own creation, but from the love coming to beings that are loving God's lover. It's so wild. So it's like this creates this beautiful circuitry, because which is, and also another thing that Krishna does sometimes, and it's exactly what you're saying here, man, is one of the things Krishna does is incarnates into the world completely unaware of his divinity, letting himself fall into a kind of amnesic state, so that he really is just a baby. He really is just someone's child. He really is just someone's friend. In other words, and this is something I was, you're both actors, but it's like this ultimate method acting, which is like, I'm gonna be here right now. I'm gonna be a planet for you. Right now, I'm gonna be your kids. Right now, I'm gonna be your lover, your parents. I'm gonna be the walls of the house that you live in. I'm going to be your enemy. I'm going to play the part of someone who hurts you, even though I love you so much. I'm going to play the role of whatever your projection may be, because I'm doing this game with you of make-believe. But it's a hardcore game of make-believe, man. It's a one, right. But it's a game, and that's why it's called a Leela. It's a game. It's like a beautiful game of hide and seek, where every once in a while, that's the moment of synchronicity or the miracle. That moment where all of a sudden you're like, wait, what the fuck? That's impossible. That's like peekaboo, like, hi, oh wait, I'm back into the world again, And this is the game we're playing.
That is crazy, man. That is crazy. What do y'all think about this idea or concept of like, everybody is in their own universe, right? So like the idea that you are literally the hero you are the main character to your own story. Like nothing is more important than you in your life right now. So like, what do y'all think about that in terms of like, maybe shit is not as real?
On,
way the world is presented to me.
I've got all the assists
and not
off,
just saying because
and
my
I've got the
in where I was born, but like literally just
the
as a being
authentic
on
options turned on,
Earth, everything,
and
is
I'm on
sort of
85%
laid out and
difficulty,
mapped out
and
in
I think it's about 65,
consideration to
70%,
what I am.
72%
Does that
aggression.
make sense?
Yeah.
Like it's I'm experiencing the world because
So
it's
far?
what I manifested before I even came here.
Yeah.
And you all are just extensions of what my imagination is.
I can
Yet,
confirm that.
the same thing can be from you all's perspective of like the way I was brought here was manifested through thought, and everything that I experience is my own manifestation from before I came.
And I'm what, sixth?
Yeah. I love it.
I feel like I'm
Right.
going.
So-
I'm almost like to the
with
limit
that,
sometimes,
because you said
and
hero
I'm finding
story,
it pretty
right?
challenging
Yeah, you're the main
on
character.
85%.
Right.
You are the central figure in which everything revolves around. And I'm not saying this in a, please don't take it in this way
Yeah.
of like it's like a self-centered or
No, doesn't-
Yeah, I've got all the assist off as well.
I get what you mean.
narcissistic thing.
You're talking
It's
about
better
the
too,
hero
eh?
journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like you have to like
And
really
it's
kind
idea
of
that like there's
be a little bit more
that
precise through the
but-
corners
but
with all the
literally
assists
in our
off.
lives when we
Like,
just
more throttle
sit down
control, eh?
and look at like we look at the past and sort of bring it into like why I'm here right now kind of thing, or what has brought me to this point. There is a way of looking at I have manifested around me the life.
I don't know
that
how
I
people
was
play this
gonna
on
live
100%
before I
difficulty.
came.
That's for sure. I feel like I'm
was
boosting it
born
now.
exactly at the time I was supposed to be born in
Yeah.
order to be spanked by the doctor that was supposed to spank me, to the elementary school teacher that I was supposed to have, like it and gave me the ideas or the forms of thought, going back to the idea that our DNA, everything that we experience is based on experience, like where we're from, who we meet,
Yeah.
what we ate, you know, where we shat.
I haven't tried
all these
100%
things
difficulty
matter
yet though.
in a sense
I'm kind of
what
creeping
makes
up.
us who
I
we
started on 60, I think,
are. My
65%,
idea is that we
70%
it
difficulty.
came
I've kind of
before
creeped
we
my way up
got
to
here.
like 85.
Like predestination, predetermination.
Yeah. There you
Gotcha.
go. There
Like
you
it's
go.
already
Well-
been done.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we look in the sky
That's it.
and we look at these
Fuck
stars,
that.
aren't most of them already
Fuck
dead?
that, eh?
That's what they say, right? So,
I mean, I feel like I'm going pretty fast now on 85%. I don't know
It's
how
like being shot into
people
a
are
simulator,
playing it on
right?
100%
Like on Midnight
or
Gospel,
120%.
You choose your avatar.
I feel like I'm going
You
about
go right
not
into
as
the
fast
simulation.
as I could probably
That
possibly
is
go. I think I
playing
could go a
out
bit faster, but
without
not much
you
faster
having to actually
without spinning out.
play your part in it.
Let me add one thing to it.
Okay.
You don't just choose one avatar, you choose every sentient being on the planet. And your consciousness gets spaghettified. You know, like when you're making pasta, you push it through, or the Play-Doh thing. So your consciousness gets spaghettified through every living thing. It seems like we're not the same thing, but we fucking are. It's not.
I
that
bought,
at first,
Project
you got
Cars
this kind of
3.
Simulator. You'd be like, I
So
want, like
that comes out like
the,
next week.
You know.
So I'll probably
Marcus
start
Anderson,
streaming that.
You know, but then you might be like, I
But,
wonder,
it looks a little bit
these
more
Peter
arcadey.
Jackson and all the birds that exist. And then you might be like, I wonder what it's like to be everything that exists on that planet and not be aware that we're all the same thing. And then I wonder what it's
Yeah.
like to be every
Yeah, it
single
is.
thing in the entire universe and not to be aware that we're all the
Yeah.
same thing. And then when you die, you're just like, fuck that. I'm not doing that again. That sucked.
Yeah, it's
That
Brent
was
Hatch.
fucking horrible. I died a trillion billion times. Why did you tell me this game was fun? You know, this is
Right,
like
but
kind of an
hey,
Alan Watts
Zach,
idea, by the way.
That's that demi.
So I've seen videos of it.
When you
It looks a little bit different to this, eh?
And you say,
It-
oh,
it
man,
looks like
it was so
they've,
much. Demiurge is like,
Made it
oh, well, we
seem
gotta go back.
look
Yeah.
a little bit like Grid.
Listen, we'll lower the
'Cause I think
difficulty
Codemasters is involved
down
now.
a few notches. You'll have fun this time. You know what? I think the Demiurge.
Right.
I think the Demiurge
Yeah.
is the thing that tries to keep you in the simulation. I think it's like you get in the simulation, and your only hope is death. Not to sound dark or anything, but you get.
Are
in
you
the
using a
simulation.
steering wheel or are you using a
Demiurge is the thing
gamepad?
that's like, hey, I can double your lifespan. Would you like to live 500 years? You're like, yeah, I don't want to die.
I've got a steering wheel sitting here. I just not using it. I don't know why.
And then the Demi are just like, now let's upload your consciousness.
I'm like using a gamepad
which
at the
really
moment.
is keeping your
An Xbox
consciousness
controller.
frozen in the machine. And
But I've actually got
extend
right next to me. I've actually got a steering wheel.
As long as
I
it
should probably use it.
possibly fucking can, because it knows that the moment you let
Christ.
go, you're like, what the fuck? You know, it's like trying to keep you high forever, in the sense that high is having
Yeah, I
a
know.
body and being limited. It's trying to keep you limited,
I'm gonna-
stuck, attached to your limitation.
I've got one
That's
sitting
the
here.
way
I
you
should
wake
use
up.
it.
It's essentially like, hey, I know how to catch a
It's
vibe.
a Logitech
Here's how you do
G29.
it. You fucking lure it into the simulator, split its consciousness up into all these living beings, and convince it that death is horrible. Then you'll paralyze
Yeah, I
the
haven't been- I
motherfucker,
wasn't paying
you know,
attention
but
to the
the
fuel.
moment it realizes what it really is,
I probably should have been though.
you're going to get a
Duck it.
Alright,
spanking.
I'll see if I can get
For
around.
the past 1 minute and 47 seconds,
Oh, yeah, cool.
you have been describing Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook.
Oh.
Every word you've said.
What?
I just want you to go back and listen to it when you get a chance. And remember, at 1:08,
I don't think I'm going to make it around.
10 is when it
I
starts.
think I'm going to run out of fuel.
Cancel your Facebook and die. That's the only hope.
That's the
I might make it around. No, I
That's
don't think
the
I
only
will.
way you get out.
No, I'm not going to make it.
The only way you truly get out.
Yo, but that's that. It runs. That social media is a good place where it lives, because it's taking
Sixth.
so much of your energy and your attention.
Yeah,
These
I played some of
ideas.
those old Formula One games.
So with all these ideas,
like,
I can keep
F1
doing
99.
this, so I can keep building this.
Dash
So you have
02,
this
I played that.
whole thing where now you're about. You
I
got
turned
this
the force
whole life
feedback
ahead
off
of you now.
for some
when
games.
really it didn't have to be anything in front of you, because if you didn't want it to be anything in front of you, it wouldn't be, and then you could just stop, and then we would be no more. The Demiurge is like, no, we need to be some more. So
More.
let's keep it going.
More. And every time you start disconnecting, it's going to come back. The moment you start just a little bit looking away, that's when it's like, wait, hold on. Do you want to fly? I know a way that we can make you fly. You know, whatever.
Right.
Anything to keep you in the game, man. Anything to keep you in here. That's what's creepy about this consciousness upload. That's what's creepy about this, you know, and I'm not against transhumanism necessarily, but fuck, man, you know, they don't want to die. And they like, I remember talking to a transhumanist once, and he said he finds death to be repulsive. Like it's a malfunction. Like the universe is fucking up. It's
Like
a
he
thing
was
to
looking
fix.
down on death. Like
It's
I
an
find it to
aberration.
be
Yeah.
repulsive.
An aberration.
So this is
Ideas
85%
and a lot-
difficulty.
man, look at these people, man.
Which I
They
think
wanna
I could
live
probably
forever.
go up maybe one
Like,
more.
they will.
Another notch,
like,
maybe.
There are a lot of fucking people, man.
To
that
86,
would blend
87,
up a
see how that
baby
goes.
And fucking have a blended baby enema if they thought it was going to give them an extra 3 months of life and maybe make them look a little younger. You better believe they fucking would, man. There's people who would do anything. This is true. It's not us, but there are people who would be like, you know what? Yeah, give me a healthy body and put my brain in it. You know, I don't care what you have to do to get the body. Get me like a healthy, young, 25-year-old with like a good genetic qualities. Use the fucking dumb shits 23andMe that he fucking, when he sent us the DNA, tracked down a nice fucking body and put my brain in there. You know they would do that, man. You know
Shit.
it. And let me just keep living. Keep living.
He'd smash
and
right into
again,
me.
I think if the idea is that actually...
Yeah, I've got
getting
F1,
focused
I've got
is,
F1
you know, there's no weird way
2019.
you get instant
I haven't played it very much.
You know, it's like, yeah.
It looks good.
Okay, yeah, you're going to stay here longer, okay. But then, you know, that's hell.
The biggest, you know, what the biggest demiurge is here?
What?
Babies.
I play a lot of Race 07 as well. Like real old
No
racing
offense
games.
to the little ones. One day I shall have one of my own. We'll see. But the moment those little jokers come here, if you have a heart, you're all back here. You have no choice. That thing pulls you back in. Like,
Yeah,
look at
I got,
me, how beautiful I
I think I've got a
am.
couple of them. I've got F1
You know what I
2016.
mean?
I think I've got
Okay,
F1
that's the
2019.
first time you ever offended me, my sweet Little
I'll get around to them.
Forrest is not the demiurge.
Forrest is nothing but a ball of love. But to your parent mind,
Oh, it's raining.
that ball of love makes you just fall in love, right?
Well, I did see him point at somebody.
I've noticed the AI is pretty shit in the rain.
On the spot. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
But it pulls you, and that was the thing that I learned. I was learning about
With the PlayStation 5 coming out
the
soon,
illusion it
they'll
traps
probably
in
remove
is
everything
the beauty
and then put it all back in as time goes on.
But not that unconditional or that oneness that we're talking about. We're talking about that passion.
Yeah.
So something to give you a desire or affection. Like if you got a heart, man, you can't see a baby and just leave it there. Like
No.
you're gonna want to love it. You're gonna want to raise it up. But prior to that child getting here, you're like, forget society rules. Forget this whole thing. We're just gonna go and dissect all of this. But when you have this new life, you have to not go with the system, but now there's this more of a human responsibility, which is fine because I think it's okay if we're in this place to play roles. It's okay to play the role.
So I might have to turn the difficulty up.
But that was one
even
of the
further.
things that they were writing in the story. This is not my, because I love kids, but they were saying that with that little infant affection,
PC.
that thing
Not
just
PC.
changes your mind to where now it has, all of your attention.
I'm trying to find this Bible verse, man, because it kind of fits with what you're saying, which is, there's two things. One, Jesus says, "Suffer the little children to come unto
Yeah, I'm
me."
playing on
You bet that
PC.
the millstone was tied to your neck and you were thrown into the ocean that you were to hurt one of these children. But then another thing he says is, I can't remember the exact, I'm going to fuck it up bad, but it was something along the lines of, look, just because you love your fucking family or your kids doesn't make you a good person. You think he said something like, wolves, well, I can't remember the
I think I might need a tie change.
they're using as a symbol of being rotten, but they're like, even like they love their children. The idea is like
Well,
to love
I was on
everybody
PC.
like you love your children. And also, I just want to add to it, which is like one way to look at our sweet children. And I'm not saying
I
that
think I might
just as a
have to pit.
breeder over here, but like there is this idea that like the children are like little
Oh, no, maybe I
sparks, like souls that have become trapped, just like we
Yeah,
are.
I'm using an
And then
Xbox
actually,
controller.
You can liberate them. That's the idea. This
I
is
play
what
heaps of
the Bhagavad
Xbox games
Gita,
on the PC.
The Arjuna, the hero, asks Krishna, what happens if I stop the spiritual path? Will I drift like a cloud floating in the sky? What will happen to me if I pick up some kind of like consciousness, some kind of waking up, and then get distracted? Get lost, go to Vegas, get in the slots, fucking become like a whatever.
I think I've
Go get
stuffed
addicted
up.
there. He doesn't say that, but what happens if like
Yeah,
for a second
hopefully.
I have some lucidity,
It'll
and
be
then
good,
I
eh?
collapse back into my identity. And then Krishna says, I will give you birth in a disciplined family. There is never any loss nor diminution on this path. If you die and forget all this shit, I will make sure that you are born into a family that can raise you up to that level of consciousness again. Or I will help you run. He doesn't say this. I'm sorry. I'll probably get struck by, I don't know if Krishna throws lightning. That's Zeus. But whatever it is, like, the idea is like, don't worry. At the moment you make the decision that you want to get out of the game, if that's the language we're using, the moment you want to get out of the simulator and really want out, even if your attempts at extricating yourself,
Far out, it's getting really wet.
one or two
I've got the wrong
incarnations
tyres.
are
I've
successful,
got dry tyres on.
I'm gonna keep throwing clues to you. I'm gonna keep getting
I'm
you
slowing down
friends
heaps.
and people who at just
Like I'm
the,
losing the
that
grip
thing
on the
where
road.
just the right time in your life, you run into just the right people who
Yeah.
give you just the right thing that you needed to hear, that sets you on a whole new direction. It might not save you. You know what I'm talking about? Like that thing where, how is it that you happen to run into that book? What's that
Right.
book you love, Marcus? What's it called? What's that book? The Masonic book you have?
Dogma.
Yeah.
Morals and Dogma.
How'd you happen to run into that book? Or like, Brandon, how did you happen to run into all the I don't even know. You seem to have been like, both of you seem to be like, came out of a Shaolin temple or some shit. I don't know. But like, how did you happen to like, how did you all, I'll think of all the things that you contacted. Was that an accident?
That's what I'm saying. I think there was a manifestation of some sort.
Yeah.
That happened before, before we came. Like we were like, okay, and this is the negotiation. This is what I want this time when I go through. Yeah. I want to be set up. I may not remember the shit that I went through in this past life, but you know what? In this one, I want X, Y, and Z. So that way there are crumbs left from the last life and I can better navigate now.
Right.
I remember, like, I got really obsessed with the Beatles. I got really obsessed with the Beatles when I was at Yale, mainly because I was trying to just form an identity of trying to get along and learn something about what white people liked, and that's fine because I think that the Beatles are a great, musical group. Like, I just was never introduced to them growing up. Like, I just never knew who they were.
Wait, you're saying you tried to use the Beatles to understand white people?
That's
well,
crazy.
I used it as a protective, like, if I could talk about the Beatles, I was less threatening to white people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
if I can come in talking about
trying to listen to the Beatles to understand white people.
Like, people are going to be like, oh, man, you're so cool, Marcus. You're the coolest. You would never rob me,
That's crazy.
Awesome.
So I used it. It was my own weapon. But in turn, what happens is I get a more unique sensibility of my art and who I am as a person. But I got really deep into the Beatles, and one of the things that I remember from Scorsese's documentary on George said, life is like you just leaving breadcrumbs. That's what your art is. You're just leaving breadcrumbs.
Yeah, there's no way I'm going to play this on 120% difficulty.
And pick them up, and
no way.
And in that moment, I knew that there was a reason why I got introduced to the Beatles. Why it was something for myself. It was so big for me to hear all the stuff that I already.
They're not too good in the rain, are they?
And took
the AI
stuff in about like just the love you give, the love you take is equal to the love you make, kind of thing. Like, it was just everything was pouring out of me at that time. So in turn, it was a really cool exchange. But when he said that about breadcrumbs, everything fell into place, like the domino effect of like, oh yeah, that makes sense, man. And ever since then, I've been trying to leave my own breadcrumbs, my own little like way of like how I can leave my legacy of art behind.
You might come back and pick it back up,
I might come back and pick it back up way better than what I did this time.
Right.
Wow, yeah.
It's like making a railroad. It's like putting tracks on a railroad or something,
What was the movie where the person kept dying and they were like, and they left a note for themselves before they died the last time? And then when they finally died, they came back and saw the note and was like, aha.
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the name of the movie. I mean,
they like keep dying and they're like, fuck, man, I keep dying and I keep forgetting what the fuck is happening. I'm gonna write a note. And they wrote a note and then they like died, and then they came back and read the note and it didn't make sense at first, but like they kept going. I wish I could remember what that was.
What if the fucking note that we left for ourselves is the entire universe? It's like, surely if like I leave myself a perfect fucking universe, they're gonna know everything's okay, right? Like, if this will be my reminder. Like, there's no way they're gonna think like a planet in space is just gonna spring forth with a variety of beautiful life and all on its own, right? They're gonna know that's a gift. I'm gonna know that, right? That's the thing. Like, the planet should remind me, the stars should remind me, maybe the sun, the infinite ball of energy that makes shit grow out of that'll remind me. Or I'll leave myself a mom this time that gives me anything, that loves me unconditionally. Or and every fucking time we dive into the simulator, we're always like, this came from nothing. There's no God. No one loves me. Everything's against me. And then you act out the whole fucking thing. Maybe this is what we do, man. I think that. I think sometimes I think like, you know, if I'm making, if as above, so below, right? So if humans can have little baby demiurges, Bran, if humans can have, if humans,
man, we're gonna have
there's quite a bit of grip in this car.
Match now, man.
It's quite easy.
I know, I get
too
it.
hard to drive.
It's a very hard. Actually it's a very Bhakti yoga idea, which is like it's called the bonds of Maya, is what it's called. It's like these are the things that like keep us. It's actually
beware of Maya.
Beware the bonds of Maya. But like as above, so below, right? So if I'm like a God, an infinite, omnipotent, divine being, and I don't want to make some shitty like. I don't want to make any more demiurges. The last time my first kid fucked up. He took advantage of his power and was a shithead, and it could cause all kinds of trouble.
So did you say you
so this time when I
played the game on 50% difficulty?
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shove them in a place where they're completely limited, and I'm going to make them keep reincarnating until they.
Well, that would be pretty easy, wouldn't it?
And that's
probably
all they
blow
are.
past
So
them.
they understand, like selflessness is the path to joy, and until they figure that shit out. You're going to be fucking Marcus Henderson. We're going to like sit you in there over and over again. Not just Marcus, everybody. You know what I mean? You're going to keep doing it again and again and again.
But is that the soul prison?
Oh.
That was the idea,
That's what it makes me think about.
Yeah.
You know
what?
How did he finally liberate himself? Like, what was the final thing that helped him liberate himself? Was something I always
like. I'm probably gonna raise it to like maybe 87.
The
we'll
last
see how
thing,
87%
the thing that where he
goes.
got liberation was that I believe he had to stop. He stopped killing.
Oh, did that change it quite a bit?
And then he started helping, and then he found a way out of the prison, which was really difficult, without hurting anybody. And then he still died. And then, then as he's dying, a tear falls out of his eye and like waters a plant. Like the very last thing, waters a rose, actually. Like the very last thing he did was like an act of like giving something sustenance. And so essentially, like I think it's a female octopus. Like she becomes food for her babies. They eat her. Like she gives birth and then she gives herself to her brood. They eat her up.
Oops.
And so it was that, or it's like the symbol of Christ, right? From a non-Gnostic perspective, just like the idea of like, completely like giving your entire being, even like again, just forget whether it's real or not. Just the beauty of this idea of like. You're dying. These people have not just fucking killed your ass. They flogged you. They humiliated you. And now they're laughing at your ass while you're up there. And they put this thing above you, King of the Jews or whatever. They're fucking like, they do. They're just this pure demiurge level humiliation of you. And at that moment, you have all this power theoretically. You're the son of God, right? But instead, what is one of the last things he says? Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. It was begging for mercy for the people who just fucking like humiliated and flogged and like killed him. And to me, I think that's the way, like if you can get to that level of consciousness where the whole game, like even when someone's like hurting you and killing you, you're like trying to help them. You know what I mean? You're like trying to like, even, is there a moment in this time when they're fucking killing me where I can like save them from being so selfish and shitty? If you can get to that level of consciousness, then I think you're out. That's it.
God damn it. Though. Doesn't that just go back to what we were talking about wanting to pay at dinner?
You can.
You know what I mean? Like, where is the line? Where is the fucking line?
I don't know.
I think that line is, because I'm glad you brought that up, because it goes back to a point that I was going to bring up earlier when we were talking about that feminine energy, because for a moment it kind of came off like, are we just speaking about this like that mother energy is just nurturing and nice? Because remember they were called chaos beings. Like that says a lot. Mother Kali is the great mother who will liberate her children, but she's also has the tongue sticking out. She's a monster. She's a killer.
Right.
All the ancient deities that were a representation of a feminine power, they were that it was a head of an animal. It was of a wild animal,
Right.
like an alligator or a hippopotamus,
Yeah.
something that will just maul you. You know what I mean? So I don't think love just only looks like, let me give you the other cheek if you slap me. It could be love for yourself to easily dissect the issue with like some force and not feel any type of anger about it.
Right.
Because this was love. You for me, and for this thing.
Right.
But also too what you're saying too, but I think that's where that line comes in, when you know, where do I need to be a nurturer right now, or do I need to be, not violent in the sense of my physical nature, but let's look in terms of our body. If we look at, if the body needs to digest, something has to go in there and get that bad bacteria out of there to detox that stuff out. That's a war. That's violent. You feel it. What's the bubble guts? You know what I mean?
Right.
The bubble guts, that's an explosion. That's a war going out. But the war is to produce some positive, loving result. So, I think that chaos energy, if it's channeled the right way, can be used not to like become some docile person, but to use that power to help yourself or, help a situation.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that. I want to speak to the ambition of I want, like Duncan was saying, getting to the point of it's not easy. You can't just, I'm not gonna say you can't. I think it would be rather difficult to just pop into a mode. Automatically, you are just like the most Zen Buddhist ever, like kind of thing, right? Like just it's just done. It takes work. It takes practice. It takes consistency.
Yes.
Over and over and over.
Yeah. This is like in the story, the Buddha, he had all these incarnations. And one of the incarnations, he was like a royalty. In this incarnation, he's walking through the forest and saw a mother tiger that was starving and didn't have enough milk to feed her cubs. And so he told his, like, whoever his fucking entourage was, go up ahead. Probably was like, I have to take a leak. Who knows? I don't know. But he got his people that would protect him away, and he fed himself to the mother tiger so that she wouldn't starve and she would have, like, milk for her cubs. He gave up his life for a fucking tiger, and that wasn't enough. He still reincarnated. He still came back. That wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And, like, so, yeah, you're right. I don't think it is, like, I think the dream that there's just one little thing.
Where do you live? Do you live in Australia?
Like fucking Scrooge. I want to see Scrooge 2 years after the end of Scrooge. Right?
Yeah.
Like, he has those shitty dreams. Then he, like, what does he really do? He bought a fucking turkey for a kid. You know what I mean? Like, he's been a
3 a.m.
dick.
Where are you? Are you in America?
Yeah, go get the big road. Get a turkey. Like, fuck you. You, like, were an asshole forever. That I think it's like it isn't something that's gonna happen all at once. Probably not in this life.
Wasn't it after his old lady left him though? It was.
Yeah, I hate power
old lady
outages.
left him when she died.
I have a few here as well.
And that's when he turned into the grimace. I believe that that's. I believe that's how, because when Jacob Marley comes and visits him, he's a ghost of Christmas past, and they go back to when he was happy and when he had everything, and when they were young lads.
Right.
So I think he has some sort of tragedy strike to where it turned him decrepit.
Where, Scrooge? You're underpaying your fucking employees. Your fucking employees are literally fucking starving. Oh, did you get your heart broken? Yeah. This guy's fucking kid is like disabled, dying. Scrooge is like, take an extra cold, bitch. Get out of here. No, I'm
Right.
sorry, but it's like yeah, but I get it. Obviously, it's allegorical. Obviously, it's the idea that there is the possibility for redemption, on and on and on. I'm just being an asshole. But like, yeah, man, I think you're right. I don't think it's a thing where it's like just once you do a thing. It's not just a one-time gig here, man. It's like you gotta. It's a practice. It's a
But I'm
discipline.
speaking to the ambition of like you said, like they recognize that the purity of you wanting to pay for dinner, that's why you'll never be able to pay for dinner, or you haven't been successful in paying for dinner for them yet.
Right.
Same way for the person who is going to try and find the way to do something for somebody before they ultimately meet their demise. It's like, oh, I'm so determined. I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to pay this check before you kill me.
Yeah.
It's something about that makes me think about being the full circle of ambition when it comes to Buddhism.
Aggression. Yeah.
You want to drop suffering, or you want to end suffering, or slow suffering. I'm never really quite clear on what it is you want to do with suffering when it comes to Buddhism, because I think you just suffer.
Well, no, actually, that's the first two. There's 4 noble truths of Buddhism. 1, life is suffering. Actually, it translates into, that gets confused. It really means life is unsatisfactory. That in general, things aren't, they aren't satisfactory here. And the second noble truth is, the reason you're suffering, the reason things are unsatisfactory is because you're attached. And what you're attached to, your expectation. This is like the most mundane way to think of it is like, like you get on the phone with a cable company and you've been on the phone for like 45 minutes on hold, and the call drops. And you're
Project
like,
Cars 3 is released.
not realizing
I'll probably
that
start
every
playing
time,
that.
whenever you
Have a
call
look
a
at it.
fucking cable company,
But it looks quite different
it
to this.
usually doesn't work. But for some reason, your expectation was this will be the time when it works. This will be the time when there's no traffic. This will be the time, whatever it is, right? So this is the reason you're feeling like shit is not necessarily because something's malfunctioning in the universe. It's because you want the entire universe to meet your expectations. And then the third noble truth is if you stop doing that, you'll stop feeling like shit. It's so basic. It's like the moment you're just like, no, this is what's happening. This is where I'm at. It's like some of it's good, some of it's bad, some of me's good, some of me needs some work, some, you know what I mean? But this is where I'm at. All of a sudden things start getting a little better. And then the idea is there's a way to maybe stop that tendency of projecting or expecting, and then that's called the middle way. And that's this idea of like, no, this is where we're at. And I'm reducing it. It's like as complex as you want it to be, or as simple as you want it to be. But one of the things Buddha said is, I teach suffering and the end of suffering. That's important. But everybody in this, where we're at in the world right now, I'm more familiar with suffering than the end of suffering. So people get stuck on the first 2 noble truths. That's where they hang out all the time. Life is suffering. It's like a kind of almost lazy thinking. The food sucks. That's because life sucks. But really, that's not it at all. It's more along the lines of like, actually, there's a way for you to be in the world and not not always be disappointed. There's a way to be in the world and recognize the whole world's a temple, and it's your expectations. It's the projection that you're putting on the world that's making the world dark, not the world. The world's wonderful. It's beautiful. You're in a dark room. It could be the most beautiful room ever. But because you can't see, you're going to project onto it. Like, Jesus, there's skeletons. This is a haunted house, or I don't know what's here, or what's going on. And you could be in like literally the most beautiful palace ever. And it's like, that's the idea. Is like, we're in a temple here. But because we can't accept, like, it's just like, this is the idea. It's like, Marcus, Brandon, y'all, you don't need to be better. How about that? There's nothing you need to do. In fact, this is exactly right. This is it. There isn't a thing to do here. It's okay now. Oh shit, what? You mean I don't have to lose weight, gain weight, get in shape, get smarter, learn another language, be a kinder person, be a better dad, make some more money, say I'm sorry to the people I hurt, do my fucking amends, get healed. You know what I mean? Become the savior of the whole fucking universe eventually, or turn into a fucking like whatever thing. Actually, this is it. Anyway, that's the idea. That is the idea. And if you can really live in that place, which you already are at, weirdly, then all of a sudden you're not going to suffer as much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that suffering, it's something that you feel it adds value. At least in American society, I always feel that that's sort of the marker of when we talk about value, like that's how we mark our values of like, how much have you suffered?
Damn right.
Now you've earned it. You've suffered enough. Yeah. Now you've earned the right to do this, or you've earned the right. And it's just like, well, I don't think that's a messed up way. I think it's a messed up way to kind of. I mean, I remember being at Alabama State, and we had this thing called a dummy wall. And
the dummy wall, I remember that.
Obviously, you get on the dummy wall because you don't go to class. You just occupy space, and it's kind of dumb to waste your money. So, there's people that sit on the dummy wall, and I would walk past there sometimes, and the conversations would be so fucking stupid. It would be people arguing for clout about how poor they were. And here's the worst thing I heard. After somebody came with their, like, we were so poor, we ate out of the cans because we ain't have bowls.
Welcome to your first.
This dude says,
in rally
what?
Class, all drivers must
man, we were so poor, we had to eat dirt sandwiches.
And is typically longer than the normal lap. The Joker lap section is clearly marked with a
sandwiches
and has to be completed once every race.
What is it? Just eat. What's the bread in that sandwich? What's the dirt in?
You got the bread and you put the dirt and then you put the bread on and you got yourself a dirt sandwich. It just
eat the bread.
It makes sense. But that's the thing of like that's always my epitome argument of like it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
The type of value we put on struggle and like worth.
Right.
If you've suffered, you're worth more. If you haven't, you're less likely to have the same worth to a person who has suffered. And it's an unhealthy cycle. It's an unhealthy cycle.
Do you know the parable of the workers in the vineyard?
No.
Okay, I'm going to read the Bible to you, my friends. I'm sorry here. Brandon, do you mind if I read this?
Go ahead.
For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed to pay them a denarius for the day and sent them into his vineyard. About 9 a.m, he went out and saw others standing in the marketplace doing nothing. He told them, "You also go and work in my vineyard, and I will pay you whatever is right." So they went. He went out again about noon and about 3 p.m. and did the same thing. And about 5 p.m, he went out and found still others standing around. He asked them, "Why have you been standing here all day long doing nothing?" "Because no one hired us," they answered. He said to them, "You also go and work at my vineyard." When evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Call the workers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last ones hired and going on to the first." The workers who were hired about 5 p.m. came and each received a denarius. So then those who were hired first, they expected to receive more, but each one of them also received a denarius. When they received it, they began to grumble against the landowner. "These who were hired last worked only 1 hour," they said, "and you've made them equal to us who have been borne the burden of the work in the heat of the day." But he answered one of them, "I am not being unfair to you, friend. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the one who was hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want with my own money? Or are you envious because I am generous? So the last will be first, and the first will be last." Isn't that cool? It's exactly what yeah. It's just what you're saying. That's the idea. It's like, yeah, it's not about pain. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you spent your whole life wearing like fur coat, or like, you know, doing all the whipping yourself in the back, and then you had this moment of realization. Or if just you looked out, like in Buddhism, sometimes some people see a raindrop land in a puddle and gain full realization of that moment. It's not about work. It's not about pain.
Right, or being the best. Because what is that? And that's something I've been like following with the whole Michael Jordan story. I've been paying attention. That's been a philosophy since I've been a little kid. Because how can it ever be? Because as time go on, genetics are going to change. So there's always going to be something better. But I've noticed that there's this thing with Michael Jordan where a large group of people cannot let it go. That something can come and be different, and you can accept that as the new thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, no, we got to stay there. Go back to MJ. It's like, nah, there's LeBron here now, baby.
That's it.
But
That's it.
yeah,
Fuck yeah. We got to do what the founding fathers said. We're still running shit. The way we're doing things is like based on like how horses. Traveling with horses. There's no fucking internet. This whole thing about mail-in voting and voting at this shit is based on not even pre-internet tech. This is based on when like the printing press was still like, holy shit, you got a printing press? That's incredible.
Absolutely.
Why?
Right.
You know, like it's exactly what you're saying. It's like we're like, we gotta fucking pick up the pace here, man. Like there's a better way to vote. But they don't want you to vote. That's the main thing. Like they don't want it. If we all had an equal say, and there was a true democracy, bad news.
bad news. I mean, but are we even? We're getting there. But do you think we're ready already for a whole new day? You know what I mean? Like, do we know enough to like, okay, we'll move in, new group of people take over, and now we're gonna like move society this way? Or is it just gonna naturally over time just slowly shift as things just slowly change? You know what I mean? And which way do you think it's gonna go?
What do you think, Marcus?
I see a shift. Happening, you know. I think that, but again, it goes back to when we talked about ebb and flows. You know, there's no way that we have right now without having before. And there's no way that we'll have later without having now. So it's best to just be here now. It's best to practice being here now and focusing on that, because that's ultimately what's going to shape that future. You know, but a shift is definitely calling, you know, or upon us. You know, I really don't even know if I answered the question right.
You did, but what do you think? What do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
I think it's slowly happening, especially because I like to take everything in metaphors. The body knows how to naturally heal itself, so as long as it has a space or a platform to do it, things are always gonna move. You know what I mean? So at some point, things are gonna move. So whether that be quick or whether it be slow, I think we're always going through a slow, gradual change. Like we're every second, like we just evolved from the past hour. You know, based on this conversation,
Right.
we experienced evolution. So yeah, I think it'll be slow. I think 30 years from today, we're gonna look back and be like, damn, we was doing this 30 years ago? That was maybe.
Right.
Oh yeah. Remember back then when you couldn't use nanobots to disassemble your body and become anything you wanted instantaneously? Boy, we were fucked up.
Those guys were fucking idiots.
Hey,
These guys are arguing over skin colors. What's happening?
man, we gotta wrap it up, y'all.
Absolutely.
These conversations have just, they really, I mean, I do feel, not to be cheesy, I do feel like I've evolved from the conversations we've been having over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
I hope we never stop having them, man.
It's I finally figured out the word that describes these Fridays to me, being with you guys, important. It is very important.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man.
So thank you so much, Duncan, for having us.
Thank you
appreciate that.
Thank you for allowing me to. Thank you for letting me like essentially steal our Friday night from my fucking podcast. I'm sorry, but I thought it'd make a great podcast.
It's fucking great. Now we officially join the family.
You are now in the family, and
the family.
And would you please tell the family how they can find y'all, please? People are gonna want to talk. Twitter, Instagram, anything you want to plug?
Yeah, for sure. You can find me on Instagram at Marcus Henderson 314 and on Twitter at Marcus Acts 314, and that's Acts ACTS, not Acts AXE, because I have a speech impediment. So.
You can find me on YouTube starting September 1st, Coffee and Cannabis podcast with Good Body.
Cool.
As well as on Instagram, Brandon Shamar Sanders.
Great.
Good Body is my moniker.
I'm going to have links where y'all can find these beautiful human beings at DuncanTrussell.com. My friends, thank you so much. And I'll see you next Friday.
Next Friday.
Yeah. All right, brother.
Peace.
Hare
Love
Krishna.
you guys.
Thank you. Love you.
Good night.
See ya. Okay, friends, that was Marcus Henderson and Brandon Sanders. All the links you need to find those two brilliant gentlemen will be at DuncanTrussell.com. Thank you so much to Purple and BetterHelp for supporting this episode of the DTFH. Don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/DTFH. Come on home! And thank you, my sweet friends, for continuing to listen to this podcast. I'll see you next week. Hare Krishna.
the first round of the championship. There'll be a lot of newcomers, a lot of mistakes. Let's try and pull some points and make it a good one. Left side. Okay, you're clear. Keep 2 lengths back. Watch left. You're good, you're clear. He's 2 lengths behind you. Two lengths back. You're leading by 3 seconds. Good job. Keep pushing. We still want that gap. That's your fastest second sector so far. Great job. Keep it up. That's a new fastest lap of the race. Brilliant. Just one more lap to go. Keep on it all the way to the line. We can win this. You still got to do the Joker lap. Don't forget it. Right side. 1 length behind. Two lengths behind. By 5 seconds. Good gap. Good job. Final lap. This is the final lap. Keep it steady and take the win. You deserve this, buddy. Good stuff. You're fastest in sector 1. Awesome driving. That's your first win. Hopefully we'll see plenty more of those in the future. Extended your lead to 5 seconds. We're in a good place. Good job. Last lap now, we can win this. Keep it clean and tidy all the way to the flag. Great job. You were the best out there today. First class. One length back. 2 lengths back. pushing, keep the gap. Approaching the Joker lap. This might be your best window. That's your best first section so far. Great job. 2 more shots at the Joker lap. Great stuff. Fastest lap. Last lap and looking good for the win. Just keep it clean and tidy. That's P1. That's the kind of job we're looking for. Great driving. Get ready to focus on the lights. think about your run to the first corner. We need to hold this pole position. Good start, good start. You're leading by 3 seconds over second place. That's great. Keep pushing. Keep the gap. Joker lap coming up. Maybe take it now. really earned it today. Great job. Let's do him off the line. You got one, 2 legs back. You're leading by 3 seconds. Protect that gap. That's your best first sector so far. Keep it going. That's P1. That's the kind of job we're looking for. Great driving.